$693 million. Cash, stuffed into luggage, wrapped in rubber bands, smuggled through a single American airport over just 2 years. Not some cartel hub on the border. Minneapolis, the land of 10,000 lakes and apparently 10,000 suitcases full of unmarked bills. Today we are going deep on this one, and honestly, it only gets stranger from here. We have got a mystery trader who placed a $1.5 billion bet minutes before a major announcement. We have got a country that just invented a toll booth in the middle of the ocean. And we have got gold, the so-called safe haven, losing $1,000 an ounce while the world is literally at war. Stick around, because the last story today might be the one that changes how you think about your own savings. But first, if you find this kind of deep research valuable, hit that subscribe button. Every like, every comment, it tells the algorithm to show this to more people. And if you want to go further, consider sponsoring the channel or using super thanks. We spend hours fact-checking every claim you hear in these episodes, because the last thing the world needs is more fake news wrapped in a confident voice. Your support keeps us independent. Now let me tell you why Minneapolis just became the shadow banking capital of America. The Transportation Security Administration just released data that nobody was supposed to notice. Through Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, someone, or more likely an entire network, moved $693 million in illegal cash in roughly 24 months. That is more than the next 15 largest airports in the country combined. Think about that for a second. Airports like JFK, LAX, Miami, all of them known for high traffic, high scrutiny. And yet a mid-sized airport in Minnesota beat them all by a mile. Now, the investigation is ongoing, so details are thin, but here's what we know. This was not random tourists forgetting to declare a few thousand. This was industrial-scale cash smuggling, organized, systematic, and invisible to every security layer for years. You know what the most interesting part is? We spend billions on airport security every single year. Scanners, dogs, officers, the whole apparatus. And somehow nearly $700 million walked right past all of it. But that is only half the story. Let us talk about what happened in the financial markets this week. Because if the Minneapolis scandal is about money leaving America in suitcases, the next story is about money moving at the speed of light. And someone knew exactly where it was going. Minutes, literal minutes, before a major announcement about potential negotiations with a certain Middle Eastern country, an unknown trader bought $1.5 billion in futures tied to the broader market index. At the exact same time, they dumped nearly $200 million in oil futures. Think about what that means. If you know a peace signal is coming, stocks go up and oil goes down. That is the trade. And someone made it with surgical precision, seconds before the news dropped. Now listen, $1.5 billion in futures is not some hedge fund getting lucky. That is not intuition. That is a schedule. Someone had the announcement before the market did, and right now, nobody is asking who. Or if they are asking, nobody is answering. You think that is all? Just wait. Let us move to the strait that connects the Persian Gulf to the rest of the world. Here is the situation. The waterway is no longer just contested, it is controlled. And the country doing the controlling has set up what can only be described as an ocean toll booth. Ships that are not connected to certain Western nations can pass, but they pay. Up to $2 million per transit. Per ship. And here is where it gets really important. The International Maritime Organization has confirmed receiving a formal letter stating that neutral vessels will be allowed through. But the definition of neutral is, shall we say, flexible. If your ship has ever carried goods to or from certain countries, you might not qualify. The nations around the Gulf are furious. This is not a blockade. It is something worse. It is selective access to the world's most critical energy corridor, controlled by a single regime. One analyst put it perfectly. Stop saying the strait is closed. It is controlled. And that is far more dangerous. Because a blockade ends, control does not. And the longer this goes on, the more leverage accumulates on one side. Every tanker that pays, every cargo ship that reroutes, it normalizes something that should never be normal. And this is exactly where the next domino falls. When oil cannot flow freely through that strait, prices spike. And when prices spike, the pain travels everywhere. Right now, a barrel is trading around $100. And for countries that import every drop of their fuel, that is not an inconvenience, that is a crisis. Take what just happened in South America. The government there announced the largest fuel price increase in 40 years. Gasoline jumped by the equivalent of 41 cents per liter overnight. Diesel went up even more. Lines at gas stations stretched for kilometers as people rushed to fill up before the new prices hit. But that is not the whole story. The stabilization fund that was supposed to cushion these shocks had been burning through $140 million a week. A week! It was about to hit $160 million. Full compensation would have cost $4 billion. The president said it plainly. We are facing two crises at once, a global one from the war and a fiscal one inherited from the last government. And you know what a taxi driver said? Fuel prices go up, food follows. That is just logic. But we will manage. We always do. Earthquakes, volcanoes, we always come out the other side. Honestly, that kind of resilience is admirable. But resilience should not be a permanent economic strategy. Now, if you are thinking, well, at least I can hide in gold, I have some uncomfortable news. Gold just dropped below $4,500 an ounce. That is roughly $1,000 off its all-time high. A 20% decline. In the middle of a war. During a global energy crisis, when everything that is supposed to make gold go up is going up. So what happened? Here is the paradox. Oil above $100 means inflation is not going away. And if inflation is not going away, the central bank is not cutting rates. It might even raise them. The dollar strengthens. And a strong dollar crushes gold. It is that simple. The safe haven is sinking because the thing that should save it, uncertainty, is also the thing that is strengthening its biggest competitor, the dollar. Analysts say they remain, and I quote, structurally bullish in the long term. Central banks are still buying record amounts of the metal. Government debt keeps climbing. The printing press never stops. But right now, oil is stealing all the attention, and gold is paying the price. Now, before we wrap up, let me connect all of these threads, because they are connected. The cash flooding out of Minneapolis. The insider trade that predicted a policy announcement. The strait being monetized like a highway. The fuel crisis hitting countries that have nothing to do with the war. The gold crash that defies every textbook. What ties all of this together is one thing: trust. Trust in airports to catch illegal money. Trust in markets to be fair. Trust in international waters to stay open. Trust in commodities to behave the way they are supposed to. And right now, every single one of those trust systems is cracking. If you are still watching, you already know this matters. Drop a comment with your take. Which of these stories surprised you the most? And if you have not subscribed yet, now is the time. We are building something here, a community that does not just consume news, but actually understands it. Because here is the thing nobody is saying out loud. When $693 million can leave through one airport undetected, when someone can bet $1.5 billion on a policy leak, when a single country can charge $2 million to let a ship pass through international waters, the system is not broken. The system is working exactly as designed, just not for you and me. And that, I think, is the conversation we need to keep having. Every single story you just heard took hours of research, cross-referencing sources, verifying numbers, separating signal from noise. That is what we do here, and we do it because we believe you deserve news that respects your intelligence. If this episode gave you something to think about, hit the like button. It costs you nothing, but it tells the algorithm this content matters. Subscribe if you have not already, so you do not miss what comes next. And if you want to go a step further, super thanks or channel sponsorship directly fuels this work. No corporate backers, no hidden agendas, just a team that cares about getting it right. Leave a comment below, tell us what you think, what you want us to cover next. This community is growing because of people like you, and I genuinely mean that. Thank you for watching, thank you for thinking, and I will see you in the next one.